What could be Springfield's first retail marijuana store is one step closer to opening. Earlier this month, Shubrick LLC was given a provisional license by the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. Its CEO, Peyton Shubrick, a Springfield native, has been developing various aspects of the proposed business for more than a year. She told us it's still too soon to say when Shubrick will be ready to open. We spoke about the process, the industry, including why the retail marijuana industry here has few women and people of color at the helm, and more.
It's definitely an honor to earn a provisional license from the Cannabis Control Commission. We've been committed to the city of Springfield and really focused on delivering an excellent experience as we think about cannabis here in the city of Springfield. So earning the provisional license is really a step in the right direction and shows that we have our act together and we're more than capable of doing this.
It's been quite the process to get here. The city of Springfield, for people who might not remember, actually had a moratorium on marijuana. They took time to study it. They sent a group to Denver to sort of get the lay of the land there, to really look at the industry, learn more about the industry. They came back, they lifted that moratorium, and your company, Shubrick, is one of 4 that are sort of in line to be permitted here in the city of Springfield, but you're the only of those 4 to have this provisional license from the state, and you need final state approval to be able to open. Talk about what this process has been like for you and your family, because you're a family-owned business.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey, one in which every day we're learning and evolving and honestly getting better with time. I think the city of Springfield, having the approach they did, having a request for proposals, allowed us to learn with the city councilors as they were pulling together the rules and regulations and local zoning to allow these establishments in. And so for us, it's been one of continuing to understand how we can best position ourselves to really work with the city of Springfield, as this is a collaborative effort, and at the same time, really allow ourselves the opportunity to understand what is it that we want to bring to the city of Springfield. As we think about our mission, right, and our tagline being people, plant, purpose, being committed to that has really helped to fuel us, to keep us going throughout this entire journey. And like I said, I really feel like we're getting better with time as we learn more about this industry.
And speaking about learning, your family approach to this, you went to the McKnight Neighborhood Council, you made a presentation, you gained their support. What has that process been like to almost collaborate with that council as you've worked to grow this business and go through the process here in the city?
It was this collaborative process of going to the McKnight Neighborhood Council as opposed to just hosting a community outreach meeting, which is required by the state, and saying, this is what I'm thinking about, right? Can I ask for your feedback? Can I ask for your opinions? And then from there, being able to progress into something that Shubrick now represents. And so having that dialogue, I think, did a couple of things. One, it set minds at ease about what this was going to be, who was going to be behind it, and at the same time allowed them a point person that they could have conversations and dialogue with, right? It's easier to accept something when you know who's behind it. And so for them to be able to say, Peyton, I have a couple questions, comments, or concerns, it's definitely made the process more enjoyable for me and hopefully for them as well.
You have roots here in the city of Springfield. Was there a reason that you chose the neighborhood that you did and Gasoline Alley, the space that you're looking at, if you receive the final approval from the state?
Yeah, I think there was a few different things that really started to come to play. Understanding the rules and regulations set forth by the state, having to be 500 square feet away from schools as well as churches, wanting to have a location that still was easy to access while being close proximity to the highway, but then wanting to do something that the neighborhood could embrace, but not disrupt their residential life. So there was a mixture of different things that we started to look at when selecting a location, and it helped to have a neighborhood with such a strong community council that we can start to have that conversation with.
You are a woman, you're a woman of color. You're one of the very few in this industry that's gotten even this far in the process. Do you feel like that this is a guy's game? This is a white guy's game?
I mean, if you look at the stats, right, we're between 82 and 85% of the cannabis industry is owned by white men. It's easy to make those statements in terms of it being a white man's game. At the same time, I think what's unique about us, right, we're 100% owned by people of color, majority owned by women. And so what we're doing is really making a statement in terms of charging other cities and towns with having representation from folks that live in their communities to be a part of this emerging industry. I was born and raised in the city of Springfield, and I'm incredibly proud of that. So being able to represent my company, represent my community for the state of Massachusetts as we think about what equity in this industry looks like, it's definitely a tall order, but one I'm up for because it's so important as we think about further diversifying this emerging industry.
You talked about some of those points when you joined us on the Legal Vices Forum that we had here in our studio back when we were doing things where people were close to one another. It seems like eons ago that happened. But when you were a member of that panel, you sat there with Chairman Hoffman, you talked through some of the challenges that you had been through. Have some of those challenges been alleviated? Have you pivoted? Have you learned from those? What have you been going through since we last spoke with you as a member of that panel?
Yeah, it's funny to think about being on stage sitting next to someone and our new normal now being Zoom meetings, it feels like. The reality is a lot has changed. COVID-19 has changed a lot of things for a lot of people. As we think about it relative to this industry, it's really causing us to think through a model for curbside and the potential that that will bring to this industry, as well as starting to think about what our customer experience would look like. Understanding people might not be spending as much time as we originally thought in a retail space. I think some of the challenges early on of starting the business in terms of securing capital and so on and so forth have admittedly been alleviated. We wouldn't have gotten to the point of provisional license if they hadn't. I think the reality of the situation is evolving and adapting with this industry as new challenges seem to be arising every day.
As you're in the process of looking at traffic, that was one of the things that you spent a lot of time on. I remember learning that from you. Do you feel like you're at a bit of an advantage? It seems like a weird thing to say, but given that you haven't opened and you've gone through COVID-19 in this way and you've been able to look at how other people in the marijuana industry have had to pivot, are you now making structural changes to the plans that you have?
Yeah, we're definitely thinking through everything to ensure that we can have both a safe and efficient customer experience, whether that be coming into the retail establishment or simply doing curbside. The reality is we need to start thinking about all of these as well as additional license classes. It's been great to see the commission advance delivery the way that it has. Treevit actually has received a host community agreement in Athol, and so they're a group that we work closely with. And so understanding the way in which this industry will change and evolve, understanding ways in which we can pivot and make changes now to set us up for future success is really important. As I like to remind my team, it's a marathon and not a sprint.
6 Bricks. Tell us about the name, why you chose it, what it means.
Oh, yes, definitely. So my last name being Shubrick, 6 people being my immediate family. 6 Bricks really became representation of this family-owned business. Both my parents are on the executive team as well as my sister. Unfortunately, the other 2 Bricks are underage, and so they're not a part of the executive team just now. But it really is an ode to my family and the commitment that they've shown me in terms of helping to support this dream when it was just a thought in my mind to actually going to meetings and making formal presentations. So whether it was a cup of tea at midnight to help me power through emails, or it was them actually, meeting with vendors and partners on my behalf, the support that I've seen from my family is really key. And I wanted to put that at the forefront of the name of the company to show not only are we different, but we're authentic in the fact that this is owned by the Shubrick family.
You have your provisional license, you have the city approval. How close are you to opening? I mean, obviously you need the final state approval, but once, assuming you'll get that, how close are you to opening?
Oh, the tough question, right? And so everyone's looking for a timeline. The reality is we still have some work to do. We'll need to do an architectural review. We'll need to hire employees. We'll need to go through final inspections. So we do have some time to go before we can actually open doors. But I think the provisional license in many ways shows folks that this will come to the city of Springfield, and we're excited to bring it to the city of Springfield. We just want to make sure it's the best possible experience. So I don't know when we'll open, but I know we'll open well.